Hey everyone, it is Monday morning and it's time to have a cup of coffee and spend a few minutes thinking and talking about story. Welcome to Stories That Work. I'm Melody Ann. I'm the host and the founder of Nutritious Truth, and I'm here to help you tell business stories and, in today's case, marketing stories that matter. And today we're going to talk about the elements of a good marketing story. And a few weeks ago, I talked about the C's of storytelling. So that would be there's a character, context, catalyst, challenges, change, and consequence. So essentially, a story is there's a character who lives in a context. Something happens that pushes them into the story. That is a catalyst. While they're in the story, they deal with challenges, things that they need to overcome. Because of that, they change. And when they change, there's a consequence. And I don't mean like a Romeo and Juliet, everyone dies consequence. I mean a consequence, like a good consequence. They become a better parent. They become a better leader. They solve a specific problem. And so that's a story. So when you're telling marketing stories, like your customer story or your brand story, you also want to have these four elements. There's a goal, and then you want to grab the audience's attention. You want to engage them to keep them, and then you want some kind of action. And so the 4R goal, attention, engage or engagement, and action. So let's talk a little bit about this. So when we are at a party or having friends over for dinner or just hanging out with our kids, whatever we're doing, we're telling stories. We're always telling stories, whether we are aware of it or not. There's some story or narrative associated to what we're saying. And when we go to a party or when we're hanging out with our kids and we tell them about our day or something funny that happened, we're not consciously saying, I'm now going to tell a story and it is for this purpose. We're just telling stories. We're entertaining. Or sometimes when you're just hanging out with your friends and something happened, you want to vent about it. So you tell the story to vent because you're looking for validation. That is a goal. Although we don't have that in our head, I'm now going to vent and I'm looking for you to validate. We don't do that. If we did, that would be actually really awesome. If we could all just recognize what we were doing. Say, hey, I've got a story for you. I just want to make you laugh today. Or I'm telling you a story because I'm really frustrated and I just want to be heard. Or sometimes we tell stories to bond, to build connections with others. But we're just not as clear on our goals sometimes in our social lives. But in our business lives, in our marketing lives, we want to be very specific on our goal. We want to think about why we're doing this. So we always start with a goal. The first one is goal, and we always start with a goal. We want to be purposeful. We don't want to just throw out content in the world just because, hey, I don't know, I'm supposed to do content, therefore I'm going to throw stuff out in the world. Have a clear reason why you're doing it and have a clear audience, who you are serving. And before you start your story, know where your audience is beforehand and know where you want to take them and know what you want them to do afterwards. So the goal is actually complex, right? So you want to know why you're telling the story, who you're telling the story for, what you want them to do afterwards, and what is that story to take your audience from where they are to where they need to be so that they can take that next step, so that they can take action. And so that's the goal. And it's a little complicated, but that's the goal. So before you start any content, including stories, understand your goal. And then once you have a goal, you want to start crafting your story. And that's where you want to grab attention. You want the right people to stop scrolling through their feed and go, oh, wait, I think that's for me. That seems important. So I just want to talk a little bit about going viral, because sometimes clients come to me and like, I want to go viral. So there are 810 million people on LinkedIn. So when people say I want to go viral, my question is usually, well, why? Do you actually want to reach 1 million people on LinkedIn with one story? Is that what you're looking for? 100,000 with one story? I mean, if you're selling duct tape, that makes sense. You do want a lot of people to know about duct tape because duct tape costs what, $3? But If you are selling higher end programs, you don't need 100,000 people to see your story. So when you think about going viral, when you're thinking about grabbing people's attention, you can do it in a way that will kind of make you go viral. You can throw out, the traditional is cats and kittens, right? Or you can throw out something shocking that people go, right? And they stop. But how is that related to what you actually do? And the people who are actually going to stop and start watching, one, are they going to finish the video? So you can say, I've had 100,000 views, but they only watched 5 seconds. They didn't get into it and it didn't benefit you at all. Or do you want to get the right people? And even if that's 10 people, the right people have just gone, oh, wait, that's for me. So when you're crafting your story and you want to grab attention, think about, how do I grab the attention of the right people, of those right 5 people, the right 10 people? You don't need more than that, right? So just think about, how do I grab their attention? And here's some ideas. One, open with emotion. If the problem that you're looking to solve brings up high emotion, recognize that, start with that. Another thing is to start with a question. Ask a powerful question. Or even ask yourself a powerful question as you go into, if it's a story about you, as you go into the story. I was asking myself, and then ask the question. Surprise us, which is different than shocking us, right? You don't want to put something out that's so shocking everyone goes, you want to surprise the right people. And so some ideas to start your story would be to start with emotion, to ask a powerful question, or to surprise us. So next, what we want to do, we want to engage your audience. So in your story, now that you have their attention, you want to dive in so that they will stay till the end, because that's what you want. You want people, you don't want people just grab their attention and they're like, oh, that was good 5 seconds, but the video or whatever your story is 1 minute or 2 minutes. So you want to dive into the story right away so that they remain engaged, and you want to keep the emotion, and you want to have a character that is compelling and a story that is compelling. One thing I see people do when they're telling stories that really just, don't work is they start explaining everything. And I know where this comes from. We were taught, tell them what you're going to say it, summarize what you said. And that's great for a 2-hour lecture that has a lot of data or facts or statistics pumped in there. That makes perfect sense. But when you're telling a story, you don't want to tell the ending. You don't want to explain it. It's like, those people who they're going to tell you a joke and they tell you the punchline and then they back up and they tell you the joke. Or people, you've seen it, right? They're like, so, I'm going to tell you this story about my friend Bob, and, he was having a really hard time. Don't worry, it works out. And it's like, no, you've just told the punchline. People, you've just lost people's, right? You've lost that compelling edge. So when you're telling a story, you grab their attention and then you engage. So you get into the story. You keep it human. You have an engaging character. You have suspense. You don't tell them what's coming. You let the story unfold so that people want to keep listening. So people want to keep reading or keep watching. You want them to stay until the end. So leave all that explaining. If you have in your head, I have to explain this, say to yourself, fine, I'll explain it at the end. I'll explain it when it's done. And just a little note, you usually don't have to explain anything. Usually you tell a story, people get it. Right? People are built to get stories, so you don't have to explain yourself. And then finally, once the story is finished, you want to inspire action. Unless you're just entertaining, I tell you a story and then everyone laughs and we're all entertained and we all go off. That's great. But if you're in business and you're telling a story for marketing purposes, you then want to inspire action. What do you want your audience to do next? It could be as simple as liking, commenting, it could be sharing, it could be changing a behavior. And so think about it. What is this story? How is this story going to change my audience? And what do I want them to do next? Do I want them to share it with the world because I want to spread a message? Do I want them to engage with me? So and remember, it's not the goal, right? The inspire action isn't always about sell, sell, sell. Some people think, oh, I have to have a call to action, which means I have to say, call me, contact me, jump in, No, you can share things, right? That's great. So when you are telling stories, or for that matter, any content online, offline, wherever it happens to be, for marketing purposes, you're going to start with a goal. You're going to know, who am I speaking to today? Why am I telling this story? What do I want to accomplish by doing this? Where are they going to be at the beginning, and where are they going to be at the end? And then I'm going to start in on the story. What's that first line? What's that way to just grab people's attention, pull them in? And once I have them, how do I have that story unfold in a way that is engaging and compelling, and they will stay to the end? And finally, when they reach the end, what do I want them to do next? How do I inspire action? So that's it. Goal, attention, engage, action. I would love to read your stories. I would love to know what marketing stories you're telling. So please drop a link in the comments to any stories that you have going on, because I would love to see them. And if you found this valuable for you, please share this with a colleague. I'll see you in 2 weeks for another episode of Stories That Work.